So this is Andrew Tate's Daddy coin, and I get asked this every single day. What the hell is going on with it, and is it going to pump? You can see it reached upon launch a $200 million market cap, and it's been falling. It got a re-pump when it got announced that they were actually going to launch their own token, and people were going to be able to get access to it through staking the Daddy coin, which is going to go into detail inside this video. Got another pump back up to 120 mil, and then it has slowly bled out and stabilized around the $43 million mark. But this is not what we were promised, because on the real world, they tweeted Andrew Tate has officially burned $110 million worth of Daddy. This was the hype. This was back in June when things were going absolutely nuts and crypto was full steam ahead. Everybody happy, everyone popping party poppers, celebrating and making a lot of money. They burnt 40% of the total supply, which, let's be unbiased here, that's an impressive thing to do. And all these other celebrities like Derulo are rugging. They're actually burning the supply and helping people who are buying in. Although, as we've seen already, it hasn't necessarily led to the best results. We'll get into that. This is what it actually means to be built different. Daddy to 1 billion. Now, this number occurs a lot of time. Let's take a look at this tweet from Andrew Tate himself. He says, "I am fully committed to Daddy coin." Huge. A quick look at the date down here. It was June 28th. "It will go to 1 billion. Now, this is Andrew Tate saying that he's fully committed, all of his energy, his heart and soul, and his word is committed to making it $1 billion. I never fail," meaning everything that he's done in the past has been really successful, and this is what he's fully committed to, so it's going to be fully successful. "You have been warned." And then he tweeted the news article of what we just talked about, him burning $150 million. That's what it got up to in its peak valuation of Daddy token. Now, if you trust Andrew Tate, and a lot of people would never trust Andrew Tate, and other people do 100% trust Andrew Tate, it is going to $1 billion. And I wanted to run a little bit of math, because this is why we're breaking down this video. We don't really care what Andrew Tate does with his token, but we want to know, can we profit from it? You can see this table here on the left. This is if you put $1 in, $10, $100, or $100,000 in at its current price point, which is just over 7 cents, 7.44 cents as I'm making this video, and a $44 million fully diluted market cap. This is how much money you would make at the $1 billion market cap level if you sold at the $1 billion level. So $1 would get you almost $23. So basically a 23x on any amount that you put in. You put in $100, you'll get out $2,300. Put in $1,000, you get out $23,000. Put in $100,000, you get $2.3 million. Now, this is exciting to some people. We're like, wow, I've got an extra grand lying around. Imagine if I could turn that to $23,000. If I trust, asterisks here, if you trust that it is going to go to $1 billion. I'm going to explore this with you in just a second. But to others, this also might be enlightening that they think they can turn $100 into $2 million with their Daddy coin. It's not in that range. You can't do that with something that's already worth $44 million market cap. There are other things that are under the $1 million market cap that will eventually be $1 billion tokens. That's the stuff that we investigate here on the channel. So if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We look for these underpriced gems every single day. But just know you need to have somewhat realistic expectations on if it gets to the $1 billion level, how much you'll make based on how much you put in. But let's have a look at the current sentiment, because to be honest, it's quite rough. They said, the real world here, update, the white paper for Daddy and the real world token, which is the actual owned token, the token that's official by Andrew and Tristan Tate that's coming out, that's going to have really awesome utility. You're going to hold a percentage of a future $1 billion project. You get access to the revenue of the real world by holding this token. So this token's a totally different video, and we'll break that down in the future. And I think this token's going to do really well. But at the moment, we're talking about just for the Daddy token, which they don't actually officially own. And they burn most of their actual coins. And so they're almost just morally obligated to keep it going. And because they promised $1 billion, that's what they're trying to do. So they're including it in the real world white paper, which is the plan of what they're going to do for the project. The time to catch up with the students who are already increasing their power level is fading away. Remember, you get this off building a power level inside the real world. We have a video on exactly how you can increase your power level. I'll link it in the description below for you. So you can farm, which means for free, earn points inside the real world and therefore exchange them for TRW, the real world tokens, when it launches. It's time to make a decision. And they said white paper in 72 hours. But here's the problem. This was July 9th. And this was the start of things not going 100% to plan, because it's been more than 72 hours and we still don't have a white paper. Then you got a lot of people in this boat, and this might be why I clicked on this video. Bro, Cobra Tate, I've been in Daddy for months now at around a $10 million market cap. I could have sold when it surpassed 300 million. So I've got this set on one day at a time. So inside that day, it would have gone over $300 million market cap, but here it logged at 200 million, which is the 30x for Mark Turkis. But knew what you were doing once you said that you planned to make it reach $1 billion. Look how low Daddy is now. What are you doing? What's going on? He's asking the same questions that we're all asking. And then I went to the Daddy Twitter and I saw that they had actually deleted the tweets. They've got a link to Daddy University, which helps you buy the Daddy token. And that's all that is on the official Daddy. They got 43,000 followers. The Daddy Twitter, it's all that's left now is actually just a link to buy and no actual tweets, which I thought was intriguing, but it looks like they've abandoned actually promoting the token on Twitter. And then lastly, I came across this tweet by Gadget saying the Tate brothers' crypto schemes are getting sad. And he talked about this little segment here from the podcast and what they said about the Daddy token. And you can see, I don't actually have to play this, but the body language is quite defeated. You know, it's not as exciting, it's not as in your face, and it's not as you must buy Daddy coin if you want to become rich. They talk about Daddy token is one of the only tokens that has sustained from a celebrity meme coin. Everything else has gone to zero. They're still at $44 million market cap, which I give that to them. Between them and Mother, which is Iggy Azalea's, which they still have beat, and Iggy Azalea has no real utility to her coin. And once again, her website is literally just a picture of her butt, which could work to the advantage. We'll get into that in a second. But they are still beating the second biggest celebrity coin. And what I wanted to talk about is this email that I sent out to our crypto newsletter. I send out it almost daily, 5 times a week. News in the crypto market and potential opportunities, including keeping you in the loop when the Daddy coin or the Andrew Tate news and opportunities come out. So make sure you jump on to our crypto newsletter. But this, I promise, is really, really relevant to the Daddy token. I wrote, people are upset over altcoins that are down 50 to 80%. This is where we are in the cycle at the moment. Just like this one, this altcoin peaked at $4.35 and retraced all the way back to $1. You can see on the graph here, it peaked at $4.35 and went all the way back down almost to the dollar level, a 74% loss. But let's put this graph here in perspective, because this graph is actually Solana and it's from 2020. And if you put it in perspective, which is literally down here, this little red line where it barely looks like a dip. So you can see a bigger dip here than you can when this actually happened. That's this massive 74% loss. It doesn't matter because Solana is an altcoin. If you don't know Solana, it's what Daddy's actually on. It's a layer 1. And it surpassed $250, which are 250x from this low of $1 back here. But it just takes time. And this part of the market is called the shakeout, and it's designed to really dishearten people, whether it's hugely volatile losses, like down 74%, or just sideways boredom for 3 months, just trending sideways, which you can see the Daddy token is starting to trend sideways, and people lose hope and people get bored. But the crypto super cycle is coming. It's just a matter of when. And so will Daddy token perform like this? Will this be a little blip and Daddy token will actually take off and go to the moon and make you, say, $230,000? Or is this something that is also going to trail off like a lot of the other celebrity coins and eventually go to zero and you're going to lose whatever you put in? Well, I have prepared a slideshow for you. These are my personal thoughts as if I was advising a family member who came to me and was like, should I invest in the Daddy token? First, we'll go through the pro-Daddy factors, things that I think might get it to the $1 billion level. First of all, Andrew Tate's word. I don't think he's going to want to sit in an interview and have someone say, Andrew, you said this coin was going to $1 billion. It didn't. What happened? You failed. I believe he's going to be so driven to make sure he gets it to $1 billion, even if it's just a blip, even if it's just for a second, so that he can say, you went to $1 billion, you had your chance to 30x your money, you didn't sell, you didn't get out. That's on you, but I was a man of my word. That might actually be the strongest thing going for it. The second thing coming is Daddy staking, where you can actually take your tokens and lock them up for a long period of time, meaning they're off the market and they can't be sold, meaning they have less sell pressure in the ecosystem, increasing the value of Daddy. The real world white paper, where you know that there's going to be more utility for people who are staking Daddy, is also going to be massive. You have to realize in crypto, everybody's waiting for these hype cycles, these news cycles. And if the real world white paper comes out and it's like, wow, if you stake Daddy, you get this portion of the revenue of everyone who's paying for the real world, which is making 15, 20, $30 million a month, you could be just a no-brainer, do the math. Wow, if I stake that much, I'm going to be earning $3,000 a month. those tokens are going to be worth $36,000 or wherever the market is going to price those in. They keep talking about a Daddy World Tour, which is where they're going to promote this coin, which I do think is good. They're waiting for the ability to leave Romania. They said they're going to go on World Tour and they're going to be promoting Daddy. However, there's a couple of asterisks on that. I think their main market is already quite saturated. And I think there's very few Tate fans who don't already know about this token. So I don't know how far that publicity is going to actually stretch. But here's what I do know. And this is, Andrew Tate's word might be the second most important one here. Here's the most important one, which is what we talked about with Solana and how it absolutely exploded. And crypto games, Axie Infinity, which is a very simple game, went to a $44 billion market cap in the last bull cycle. Things go nuts, things go crazy. And when the market is going up, everyone's celebrating and cheering, and no one thinks about, wait, is this overpriced? It's absolute mayhem. If you weren't here last time, this is where Andrew Tate said he made $80 million in PancakeSwap, things are crazy. And when the bull run comes and when the super cycle comes, forced by a few things such as the Bitcoin ETF or even just all the inflation and money printing that's going on, and Bitcoin's going to soar, the layer ones are going to soar, then everything's going to soar after that, including something like Daddy. The bull run is going to be a massive factor. And it's like, okay, if the super cycle is here, say next week, I don't think Daddy's going to zero. I think Daddy's going to the moon. But let's have a look at the con Daddy factors. And I talked about this in another video. I actually think the fact that they're adding utility to the Daddy token isn't actually a great thing. I think it's a noble thing and a moral thing for them to do. Be like, we're just not a meme coin and some scam. We're actually giving you revenue. We're actually giving you access to things, and you can use your Daddy tokens to buy and sell. They're on different exchanges, and you can actually buy and sell real world objects with Daddy token now. I actually think, however, in the current market cycle, it's hurting the price of Daddy because people are trying to value it based on what they get from it instead of valuing it on the fact that it's a meme coin, it's got no utility, but it could 20x your money. Sell the news is also big when the white paper drops. Once the Tates actually burn their tokens, the price dropped because it's like, what's the next thing we're waiting for? That's what the crypto market's about. It's like the next big event, the next massive thing that we can be excited for and anticipate. I remember when I had NFTs of a Mona Lisa, and it was getting sold inside of Christie's auction, and the whole time it built in price. The day before the Christie's auction, it just went down 25% of the price because it's like, well, there's nothing else to look forward to. That was the hype. That was the top. The real world token launch, I actually think once again is going to be a con because I believe, and this is my personal advice to myself, not financial advice to anybody else, that the real world token is going to be the one that we're going to want. I think that is going to exceed $1 billion for sure. I think with the utility, unless they launch it really weirdly and strangely or have crazy inflation, which I'll update you as I get more information when that white paper drops, that's the one that is going to be owned by them and actually revenue generating. So I think that's going to be a bad thing for Daddy because Daddy's going to be like, oh, that token they had once in the past. And then a bear market, which is the sideways shakeout market right now that we've got. Everything's bleeding. And when you look at the Daddy graph, I don't blame the Tates at this point for the bleeding out, even though it's maintained a $44 million level. It's actually quite promising that it's maintained that level because this could have just bled out all the way down to a $10 million level. But as Andrew and Tristan are seeing, they're trying to push this a little bit on Twitter, but it just doesn't impact the price because we saw Andrew Tate move cryptos hundreds of millions of dollars in one tweet, but now he puts out 3 or 4 tweets and the price stays the same because the market conditions aren't great. And so overall, I'm not currently buying the Daddy token, but I'm keeping an eye on it. I think we may have about a month or 2, maybe 3 of accumulation, and I think this is going to do well when the super cycle finally arrives, but it's about timing it. And it's about your risk tolerance and my personal risk tolerance. And I do currently own a few $1,000s worth, maybe $3,000 worth, which I bought in at about the 55, I believe, $1 million level. I bought it here on this channel if you want to go watch me buy it live. And if you don't know how to buy it, that's a great video for you. I'll put that once again in the description below. But overall, this is how I'm playing both this accumulation phase and the next crazy bull run. Because there's going to be so many tokens to buy, way more than the last cycle. And the biggest factor that determines if a token is successful or not, in my experience and everyone else around me, is do they have a person like Andrew Tate, Elon Musk, Ilio Trades, Alex Becker, Crypto God John, any of these people, Kyle Chassie, Miles Deutscher, House of Crypto, these guys have big audiences who love them. And when they recommend a token or when they buy a token, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and these things go exponentially up to the right and make a lot of money for people who are early. So we have what's called an influencer wallet tracker. And we just launched Wallet Tracker 2.0, where we are literally scouring the blockchain. We have 2 blockchain detectives going not full-time, but every day they're looking for wallets of these people. They're hidden wallets that nobody else has. We have some awesome real secret wallets, especially of Alex Becker. We've got a lot of them. We've got the Tate wallets, both brothers wallets, as well as the real world wallet. And we are looking at those wallets and setting up buy alerts for when they move, buy, or sell a new project, so that we can get in when they get in and get the results that the biggest influencers and biggest whales and best traders in the world get. So if you want access to the influencer wallet tracker, it's all in our inner circle for you. The link's in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.